And here we go. Hi, everyone. In this session, I am joined today by a person that's, I've never met him in person in real life, but he's very near and dear to my heart just by his insights and his contributions to, so much of the work that I try to put out there. I'm introducing you today to Brian Parker. He is a very seasoned software engineer. He's a super involved in the development of Blazor components. He's ranked number 6 when it comes to Stack Overflow contributions, especially on the Blazor topic. Brian and I, just started talking a while back, and just a few days ago, he reached out to me and he said, hey Hassan, what do you think about building a virtualization, component that basically leverages OData? So as you scroll down, it leverages the pagination. Is it pagination or pagination, Brian? I don't know. Did you just I never spell it right.
I call it pagination, but I've got an Australian accent, and
Paginate. I'll take pagination. I'll take pagination. I think it's pagination. I always get those confused. Anyway, so we're gonna try to build something together. They're gonna be. This is just a series of sessions where I want people who are joining the software industry, to kind of see in real life, what it's like for two engineers to kind of go back and forth and build something from scratch. Even when we get stuck, like when we get stuck, what's it like to kind of solve these problems? Where are we going to look? How are we going to search? Some of these sessions, I might just stream them, and some of them I might just record them because of the release time. I want to make sure I release my videos at a time where it's the peak time where people are usually coming into a weekend and they're trying to watch something to learn from instead of just looking at the video and saying, oh, I'll watch it later, and then they never watch it. So anyway, without any further ado, Mr. Brian Parker, do you want to introduce yourself to the world, to my subscribers, and tell us a little bit about yourself, sir?
yeah. Well, hi. Been working. Oh, wave. Been working in IT since about '84. Started self-taught. I actually learned how to program out of an 8286 manual.
Mm-hmm.
I started with MASM assembler a long time ago. I also worked for one of the government department in Sydney here in Australia, and I developed a large database system that tracked every locomotive in New South Wales.
Mm-hmm.
I was involved in the development of that, and I ended up running that section for quite some time. I left Sydney quite a while ago due to some personal reasons, and I've been sort of developing on my own ever since. And that's where I'm at. So I come up with this idea for virtualization with OData, and I've seen the great videos you do online teaching people the server stuff, and I really get a little bit disappointed how people seem to gloss over it and don't really understand the true benefits of how powerful it is, and how it can send queries straight through the controller all the way through to the back end. And to me, that's wonderful, powerful stuff, because it sort of puts the processing where it belongs, not where it shouldn't be. And quite often I see so many people bringing data all the way through to the client just to process it, and I see that as a huge mistake. And then they're complaining about how slow things are, and it's just a fundamental design problem. So
Yeah.
I hope a product like this will help. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for the people that are watching this for the first time, because these videos, Brian, they just go out there for all kinds of different audience. Some people they might have never even learned about Blazor or OData, no matter how many times we talk about it. And I just want to tell people here that OData, I will provide links in the description of this video about what OData is, and what Blazor is, and why these technologies kind of, we're in this day and age. Like Brian, you and I probably might remember this. It used to be really hard to find resources to learn about, programming languages and building web applications. Do you remember that huge HTML book? What was it called? The HTML Bible or something like that. And you would just look at it and it would just scare you away. You would just look at it and be like, do you remember when web pages used to be tables? We used to
Yes.
do and if so go ahead.
I started before the net. I started programming before the net really existed here in Australia, and people were still using BBS systems. So it's kind of crazy.
Yes.
But
And I just learned recently there's also a virtual virtual reality kind of language for the web. I didn't even know that. Like things are going in all kinds of different direction. There is this gentleman that I follow on LinkedIn. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but what he's basically super interested in into picking up a Blazor components and making games like web application, web games, for the web with Blazor, and that's really cool. There's even Brian. I even thought very recently. Have you ever heard of this library called 3JS? 3JS is
Yes,
that.
I have. Yeah.
So imagine if we put like a re-implementation or kind of a manifestation of this 3JS into Blazor. What do you think about that? Do you think that would be useful for people?
Yeah, I remember we had an initial discussion about this, and I sort of summarily dismissed you and sort of thought, what need would that be? Where would the need be in Blaze? And then I thought about that. I shouldn't have said
Yeah,
that. And
yeah.
yeah, there is a need, and I can see some very interesting UIs coming out of a 3D library. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Especially if something is if a lot of things are going into the web. I remember a point in time, I swear to God, Ryan, this happened, Brian, this happened with me once. I remember that was early 2005, maybe sometime there. Someone said to me, this whole web application is just a fad that's just gonna go away and nothing is gonna go on the web. And I was like, people said COBOL is gonna be the last programming language, and we're never gonna make any new programming languages. And I don't think that went very well. I didn't think that aged very well. So the thing about
I tell you what, I
yeah.
did a little bit of COBOL in my time, and COBOL did teach me a few things, but yeah, it was a horrible language to work with. I actually worked with another language called Mapper. I don't know if you've heard of it in the States. Mapper was developed for a Unisys and Sperry mainframe systems here. So Sperry's a company that was started in New Zealand, I believe, and they created mainframes.
It's
And
called Mapper.
yeah, they had a language called Mapper, and it's very, very similar to COBOL. And I did a lot of work in that for a long time, and it's a horrible language.
Let, let's take a look at Mapper, Brian. While we're at it, just take a look, and like I said to you, this session here, we're just kind of having fun, and I'm to be honest with you, I'm trying for the people that want to know what kind of application I'm using an application called StreamYard. StreamYard,
Yeah.
it's really cool. You can see the dynamics of pushing. It's all in the web. It's a web application, so it's really cool. So Mapper programming language. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. No, you're not kidding. It's there. So what does the syntax of this? Let's see. Programming language syntax. Syntax. Let's take a look. Mapper Rosetta code.
So
Oh,
yeah, Mapper was fairly big in its day. Even companies like Qantas was using it for all their baggage handling and stuff like that.
huh. Interesting. Is this the right syntax for it?
Yeah,
This one?
looks been a long time since I looked at it, and
Yeah,
it looks.
I'm very sure. Oh
Yeah,
my Lord, look at all that stuff. It looks like assembly. Go to is I'm assuming that
yeah,
this is go to. I really hope that this is go
yeah.
to.
Yes, that's a go-to.
So if bottles are bigger than zero, then go to 0020. So it's just basically sending you to the address in
Yeah, it's
memory.
horrible spaghetti code.
I'm just, I'll be honest with you, Brian. I'm just so glad you and I are in this day and age where we don't have to deal with this anymore.
Mm.
It's just now we get to go and tell people, oh, look, object-oriented programming, and
Yeah.
these classes are talking to each other. Anyway, I think it's pretty cool. I've never see I just started talking to you, man. I'm already learning things from you, and this is all great. Okay, so here's the deal. So for the people watching us, let's first the thing that I like to do always is try to open up a Blackboard. So an application called Draw.io. I use that
Mhm.
very heavily, on day-to-day basis, especially when I'm Brian, when I talk to people from all different backgrounds, and they come from everywhere, and I almost found it almost universally acceptable. If you start drawing shapes, it's more likely and more optimum to communicate an idea through drawing shapes. We're going back to the ancient Egyptian age where people are just drawing things. I mean, we're using emojis, right? So that's there,
Yeah.
you know. So let me kind of share the screen here. I'm going to share the Draw.io here. with everybody. I hope I don't share the entirety of the 40-inch screen. That would be sad. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking, Brian. So what you're saying, let me say if I visualize this idea that you have very well. So let's say this is a web page and you have a scroll in here. So this is a scroll right here.
Hmm.
And then you have all kinds of records that are sitting in here. So these are records, and I'm just gonna do this real quick. So, please forgive me if I take a little bit longer. I normally just try to, and then let me optimize, Brian. Let me see if I can do this real quick. Okay, so there's a bunch of records in here, and as you scroll down, let's see, this is the scroller here. What do you call it? The cursor? I don't know, Ryan. Brian. It's this one here. So okay, so here's the cursor, or the scroller or something. And as so the idea here is that as you scroll down, you want to send basically an API OData API call to your API, right? To basically go and say, give me the next page and the next page and the next page. Is that what you're saying? And that
Yep.
basically, wow, this is
Yep.
cool.
And so
Go ahead.
no more than about 15, 16 records loaded at a time, but the user doesn't see that. They think they've got the whole list.
So it's like an infinite scrolling. That's basically, I think that's
Yep.
what they call it, infinite scrolling,
Mhm.
right? So and then if this happens, we basically gonna, the command here is that you're going and saying, it in OData, you're basically going and saying skip, like $ skip,
Yeah.
and then you basically add in the numbers there, and it basically, and the good thing about OData is that it actually gives you the next page. If you're doing an EDM model, it'll say, hey, there is more, here's the next page, there is more, here's the next page, which is really fantastic. And I'm assuming, Brian, we're going to be like caching those on the web client, so the stuff that we
Uh,
pull, it's already sitting there, right? Go ahead.
I'm basically writing a wrapper that goes around the new virtualized component that came with .NET 5 and
Mm,
is now coming, and it was also in .NET 6. So
mm-hmm.
the responsibility, the caching and stuff will be basically what the virtualized component was doing. So all I'm doing is writing a wrapper for it and using my wrappers doing the queries to the API. So
Nice, nice, nice.
yeah,
And just to give people a little bit more insight, we use this infinite scrolling almost every day. I'm gonna show you guys what do we use infinite scrolling for. If I go in here, if you're using any type of social media, no matter what that social media is, I'm gonna go here and just gonna go to Twitter, just for example. If you go to Twitter like this what's happening now on the screen as I go like this is infinite scrolling. Look how like the posts start to show up as I'm scrolling down as I go.
yep.
See,
No silly buttons at the bottom saying next page and how many pages there are. Yeah,
yep. People
it's,
used to have
it's
these buttons. Do you remember? Load more, load more, load more. This is how you know you kind of ran into a situation where there's a legacy system that needs to
yeah,
just be burnt and started from scratch. And the moment you watch something like this, so you see this virtual scrolling on database. In fact, actually, there is there's a project that I'm starting. I started to put some stuff in it, but trying to kind of allocate time and scheduling for it, trying to kind of, kind of align my vacation time around that project. I called it Tarapo. It's basically an open source social media platform to kind of respect people and deproductize humanity, so people are not, your data is not being consumed by some rich dude in the Silicon Valley using your data to make even more money out of it and sell it out to
yeah.
marketers and all that. Okay, so this is that. So Brian, do you want to show like the POC that you have, like kind of share screens and walk us?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yes. I just you might have to give me a few moments to set that up.
Yeah,
Just give
absolutely,
me.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. And while you're doing that, just like I said, if you have never heard of OData, if you've never heard of Blazor, I will share. There is a long, long series. I think I'm running into almost 16 hours now. Starting Blazor from scratch, working through brokers and services, and all the way up to the components. I'll share that. I'll share some insights on OData. To be honest with you, right now at this point, Brian, when I look at my content, most of the content that I'm putting out there, it's mostly either Blazor or OData. I mean, there's some standard, standardization and C# stuff in the middle, but it's mostly these two things have been kind of mind blowing and have been my interest in the last, let's say, I don't know, year, 2 years, a little bit longer than that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Just
Uh-huh.
2 seconds, and
Yeah, absolutely.
close all tabs but this.
All right.
Just my Visual Studio is just taking a few seconds to load it.
Takes a little while. So what version are you on these days? Did you get the
Uh,
2022
Um,
yet?
yeah, I've been using that for a little while now, and I love it. So it's really good.
It's cool. That
Yeah, I
whole
love it.
autocomplete, that the AI thing, did you do that? Did you see that AI autocomplete? It's scary, man. That's some
Yeah.
scary stuff, man. I don't know
Okay.
what to say to that.
So I better share my screen.
All right. I will just make sure that your screen is very visible. The one thing I ask of you, Brian, you just increase the font. Share first, and we'll see if the font is right,
Yeah.
because a lot of the people that will be watching us, it's mostly going to be on their mobile phones, right?
Yep.
So okay, here you are. Okay, I'm going to add your stream here, and then okay. So do you want to, so there's two options. Here's what I do. I go on my desktop and and go on display settings and set
Mm-hmm.
your, it's going to be really big on your side, but it's going to help a lot of people see the stuff. Do you see that change the size of the text, apps, and other items? Push that to 175. It's going to make things really big, but it's going to help a lot of people actually see what's going on.
Sorry, that was in scale and layout, is it?
Yeah, yeah. If you go right click on the
Yep.
desktop and then display settings and then go to change the size of text, apps, and other items. There you are. There it is. Wow, it's probably super huge down your side. I'm sorry, Brian. All right. All
Okay,
right.
so
Uh-huh.
what I've done here is I've tried to open it up on the. So this is just a sample application where I've consumed my library that I've already written as a POC. And the library that I've written is this OData Virtualized, and this is what I hope you and I can work on and
Yep.
turn it into
Yep.
a fully engineered product instead of just a POC.
Yep.
So at the moment, you'll see all it's calling there here. Sorry, here it's just all it's doing is giving a reference to the type of data that's being returned from the endpoint.
Nice.
It's defining the endpoint. We're also passing in a default query.
Nice.
So we're
Nice.
just sorting it by description. And here I'm passing a parameter in that's the overscan, and the overscan ties directly to the virtualized component that Blazor already offers. So
Nice.
as you can see, so this is a replacement to the fetch data page that comes in the template, and gone is all the code. And so there's no need for code anymore to bring the data across, because the virtualized component handles all that through
Yep.
knowing this information.
Okay.
So just to show how that runs, I'll just
Yeah, let's do it.
geez, you made
Oh,
me a
it's gonna
button.
be it's I think it's gonna be in the yeah, I guess you can if you could do right
F5 is
click.
it?
Yeah, you could do
F5.
right click. Oh, you could do it. Yeah, you could do that too. All right. Oh man, this is really, really cool. Just, integrating straightforward with OData and all
Yeah.
right, let's see.
So this is yeah. So we'll go over to the fetch data page that I've already written. Get rid of all this.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so at the moment, 5,000 records, that's quite a large amount of data. I've already
Yeah,
written it in such a way that I can just hit update, and
nice,
it just removes all the records if I want 10,000 records.
nice.
So we're talking a large amount of data here.
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Just give it a few seconds to create that, and we've got 10,000 records. Okay,
Nice.
so 10,000 records in a client just wouldn't work in normal situations, especially when you think about the sort of clients that are out there. When you write an app in WASM,
Yep.
you can't really know in advance what it's going to be run on. It could be run on something with bugger all
Massive.
memory, a
Yeah.
massive amounts of memory, or no power
Yeah.
at all. So the idea is to move all that processing work back to the server, and ideally, in this case, all the way back to the SQL engine. The SQL engine is designed to do sorting and filtering and all that sort of stuff. Why do it in the controller? Why do it in the client? So,
Right.
yep. I'll just. I really can't sort of show you because of the screen font. So, but I'll just
Yep.
scrolling off. So I'll drag that right to the bottom.
Yep.
There you go.
Oh, I saw that. Oh
Yeah.
man.
So that's
It's
100,000 records. I'm scrolling up and down pretty reasonably fast. So you
nice.
can't.
Nice. And it's already doing as you go, it's already making the call
Yep.
and pulling. Nice.
You can
Nice.
actually see the queries here as I'm pulling each page. You can
Oh
see the
my
query.
God. Oh, Brian, that's amazing. That's amazing. All right, I'm sold. We're gonna productionize this. We're gonna productize this together. We're gonna test drive it. We're gonna make sure it works the way it's supposed to, and we can put it out there in a NuGet package. Did you did you
Yes.
find did you find the name for your NuGet package yet?
I did. I called it a Blazor OData client. I've already got it out there, but it's not a listed. It's not listed yet, so you can't sort
Blazor
of search.
OData client. Oh, gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Nice. Okay. I mean, you guys see what he did. This guy is amazing. He's very insightful. If you ever used Pretty Blazor, which is one of my NuGet packages, there's a lot of influence in my Pretty Blazor NuGet package based on Brian's recommendations. Brian, I'm gonna bring the screen back to you and me here, and here's the deal. This is the beginning of this series. I just want to show everybody. It could be a session, it could be two sessions, it could be five sessions, however sessions it takes, and we're gonna run tests on it. I'm gonna show you guys, how we're gonna use something like .NET benchmark to actually test the performance of the OData virtual, component, virtual OData, kind of pull in data. How fast is it? We're gonna show you the difference between loading all the data at once versus the virtualization or infinite scrolling that can actually tremendously improve the experience in your web application if you're building it using these awesome technologies. Before I wrap up, Brian, do you have anything for people to say before we close
No,
our
I'm
session?
just. I can't wait to see. Can't wait to get it done. I really think the Blazor community. It's going to be a big bonus for the Blazor community. And
Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure
yeah,
people are going to be, while I'm at it, we're building this library. We might just bake it into the actual, built built-in Blazor application. We'll see. We'll submit stuff. We have a lot of these ideas. And like I said, what makes this very near and dear to my heart, this project that you're just, showed us is that I love Blazor and I love OData, and you just found a way to mix both of them together, and now we
yes,
can actually bring all of this out to the world. Brian, I'm so excited about this too. I can't wait for our next session tomorrow if you're available.
yep,
For us to start working on this, test driving it. I just want people to see how we're communicating and building software together from the ground up. Usually most of the great software out there is a closed box. You don't know what the story is behind building that software. The experience is actually all that I care about, and I can't wait to make this happen for both of us. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to having more sessions with you in tomorrow, starting tomorrow.
yeah.
Okay, sir?
Thank you very much for inviting me, and let's hope this is a good journey for everyone. So,
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian. I'll talk to you later. You take care.
thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.